What is the story behind the water bottle Heiligenthal and how is it made? I'm often asked these questions, so I thought I would make a video out of them. The Heiligenthal water bottle is an art project in a vessel. In this way it has never existed. The legends and stories about Heiligenthal go back to the 13th century. They are about monks, rich landlords, robbers and much more. The watermill was often an important turning point here. Today it is a popular regional guest house and hotel. I used the terms water, history, region and vessel and found what I was looking for in the Lüneburg Museum. Here I found archaeological finds of Westerwald water bottles that were made in the 17th century and traded worldwide. I like the shape, so I'm using it as a model. So now I want to take you to the past of these bottles. Working up the clay is a powerful act. The clay is mixed on the plaster's plate until it has the right consistency. To better determine the size of the vessel in advance, the clay is weighted out precisely. Our bottle should have a volume of about 1.145 liters. The air bubbles, which would make any jar burst, are removed by beating the clay. Before I start turning the potter's wheel, let's take a look at the potter's room of our ancestors. A potter at that time turned about 150 to 175 bottles a day. If he had finished them on its own, it would have taken him 5 days. But now to my little pottery laboratory with electric wheel. Clay thrown onto the moistened wheel and centered. But this mass is not enough for the bottle, so I throw another ball of clay onto the lump. With this technique, I can economize my strength. After centering, the clay is opened up. Good aiming water is needed here. Now the floor is smooth. This process is only possible at this point of the turning process. Now the wall is raised. Again, back to my technique with 2 clay balls. The potters must have used only 1 lump of clay for the mineral water bottles. They were pretty good at training. Very few professional athletes can keep up with that today. For his apprentice exam, Rainy in Germany has to prove he can turn a cylinder 30 centimeters high. To achieve this, a lot of practice is necessary, especially as this clay, which I got from the German area Westerwald, by the way, is made for a turning height of about 25 centimeters. Don't worry, I turn out the egg and the bombs right away, but maybe I should leave it alone. The bottles of our ancestors were not necessarily turned evenly. This care was lost in mass production. The filling capacity was critical. Now the neck is slowly narrowed to the diameter of the cork. I will add another bulge in a moment. Our ancestors did something similar. The cork was not always available, so in addition to simple plugs made of wood, a leather cloth was stretched over the bottles. After the clay has dried slightly, the neck is refined. And have I reached my goal? 30 centimeters? Yes, this looks good. The bottle is neatly cut off on the turning wheel with a wire. Now the Heiligenthal coat of arms is applied to the bottle. Our ancestors stemmed the coat of arms from the coat of arms of the spring well at this point. The Heiligenthal coat of arms consists of the mill wheel and the French lily, which is a family coat of arms of the family from Möller of this place. And here is a better view. Now the handle making begins. This too usually requires some practice. The clay is pulled evenly until it has the right length and width. Then it is applied to the bottle. And I add a little bit of handle food. This prevents dust from accumulating during storage. Once this is done, the bottle has to dry for a week. I did my bottles in clay glaze. Clay deposits in this area were predominantly yellow due to the high iron content. The yellow turns to red through the fire. Because of these mineral resources, houses in Lüneburg-Heatherland were often built with red-fired bricks. I will decorate the bottle with a Heidschnucke, a symbolic animal of the Lüneburg-Heatherland. The logo here with a lively running Heidschnucke is something I only made up. The pencil drawing is later scratched with a needle. The shape then filled with blue paint. Back then, the potters did not have many colors at their disposal as they do today. They mainly used the poisonous cobalt blue. The typical blue ring around the neck of the mineral water bottles must not be missing. By dividing the work, the potters were able to work much more productively at that time. I remember the picture of the old potter's room from the archives of the Westerwald Gallery Blattfeld. Now, the first firing at about 900 C°. Here was built in time-lapse. And look, the bottles are red. Since these bottles are not fired in a wood kiln, they are glazed with a light transparent glaze, so that glaze runs evenly inside. It is filled and poured out swinging. Also with this glaze, the bottle is dipped into the glaze to ensure even coverage. Since the glaze flows in the firing and the vessel would otherwise stick to the bottom, the glaze is rubbed off at the bottom with water. After at least 3 days drying time, the last firing takes place, this time at almost 1200 degrees, which is needed for the stoneware. Again, I have included a time lapse. And now I will take the bottle to the Heiligenthal mill. I want to check here with the mill water whether I have reached the required filling quantity of 1.145 liters. I choose the water from the mill pond as the test liquid. Well, when I look at the water like that, there are a lot of happy water fleas and duck floats in it. Maybe I should make a bitter bottle. I also discovered this in the Museum Lüneburg. It contained medicine against stomach and intestinal diseases. Then we'll turn the terminal against into a 4 and then assail the bottle with its contents. By the way, the Heiligenthal water bottle is available without contents, and the boy volume seems to be alright too.